guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is all about eyeshadow and eye tips and tricks. Just some hacks on how to help the process with eyeshadow and your eyes and stuff like that. So if you want to see all these tips and tricks, please keep watching. So I do use these tips on a regular basis, especially when I don't have certain products. These things tend to help me quite a bit. If I don't have a certain thing, I know I can use this trick and it will help me if I've run out of something else just to substitute it. So I'll still be able to create looks that I want. Before we go straight into it, I want to prep my eyes before I start this because it's all about the eyes. I'll be using the NYX eyeshadow base. It's just like a nude skin colour shade. Now I've applied the eyeshadow base, I want to set that with the Morphe 350 palette. I just want to take this creamy white shade here just to set the eyeshadow base. I'll just be using a flat brush for this. So that's my eyes prepped and ready. So when you apply an eyeshadow base and a neutral colour on top, it just really helps prep the eye before you start adding some colour. And setting the eyeshadow base, it stops your eyes from creasing slightly, so making sure you prep your eyes first is quite important if you want to use a lot of eyeshadow and create a good blended look. Now I can show you my first trick, which is such a simple thing. It is used quite a lot in makeup application, but this is like more if you don't really have the tools for it, you can just find this around your home pretty easy. So what I use is masking tape on the edge of my eyes if I'm going to apply eyeshadow, or even if you want to apply a liquid liner and you struggle getting that sharp edge, you could use this. So there are actual under eye pads that you can get that help this, and they also stop fallout if you're using like quite a loose eyeshadow or packing on quite a lot. It really does help. So masking tape is good. I've used sellotape before, but masking tape's a bit more softer on the skin. So if you have any to hand and you don't have the under eye pad, this is literally so easy, and I guess most homes have this. You can get it from like the pound shop. It's pretty easy and it really helps create the look that you want. I apply it just along the edge, kind of keep it in line as to where you'd like the edge of your eyeshadow to be. So maybe like in line with just the bottom of your temples, just like parallel to the way you'd like, for example, an eyeliner flick to go, or how you'd like your cat eye to look. So you simply just place it right underneath on where you'd like the edge to be, and then you softly place it. Try not to completely stick it to your skin because you don't want to hurt yourself, but just softly place it here. And then when you start to apply your eyeshadow, it really does help. So I'll do it with the other eye, and you want to try and make sure that they're kind of even and one isn't like all the way down here, if you know what I mean. So just kind of softly place them. So now, as silly as you look, you are ready to apply some eyeshadow. The next trick, or trick number 2, there's always a time where you forget to, if you're packing to go somewhere like for a weekend, or you're going out and you've forgotten something, if you're getting ready at a friend's house and they might not have it. This is a good idea because in your makeup bag, in most people's makeup bag, we do most likely own a blusher, a bronzer, or a contour powder most of the time. And they're usually singular on their own and they're easy to pack away. If there's a time where you don't have any eyeshadow to hand and you're really stuck and you just want to create just a nice neutral warm look, bronzers or contour powders really do help with this. I discovered this quite a while ago. It can be done. I mean, if it's on your face, surely it's able to use on your eyes. It's a powder, so it's not so bad. And it does create a look and you wouldn't even know. Sometimes if you use it on your eyes and as bronzer or contour, it matches really well because you're using the same thing. So if you want to create a subtle look and you have no eyeshadow to hand, these things can really help. What I have on me, I've got a MAC Studio Fix powder. I'm not too sure of the shade, I'll be honest, because it's faded and I've had it a long time. I have the NARS Laguna powder and a MAC blusher in the shade Devil, and it's a satin finish. These kind of shades really do help. So this is a blush and these are more like contour powders. So I can show you now how they work quite well on the eye. I'll be using probably, if I want to go for a subtle look, I'll probably use the MAC Studio Fix because this is just the perfect kind of bronzed soft shade, and I have used this many times on my eyes if I'm in a rush and I don't know what colours I want to use and I'm just having a really, you know, quiet day, a day where I'm not doing too much but I want to wear eyeshadow. This really helps. This is the shade I'll be using. Works really well as like a contour powder. And I'll be taking the Morphe M330 blending brush. It's a really good crease brush. And I'll take this very lightly and just start applying it into my crease. Another little tip when applying your eyeshadow with a brush, if you want it to be quite soft and blended quite nicely, it's quite good to kind of use the end of the brush rather than going all the way up here, because without realising you are putting quite a lot of pressure onto your application, so it might come out slightly blotchy or look too heavy and not blended as well. Whereas if you're applying just with the end of the brush, it gives you more of a softer look and it applies a lot lighter. So I'm going to take the colour and I will show you how it looks on the eye. So as you can see, it's a very neutral kind of colour, but if you want to do your eyes in such a, you know, a very calm kind of look, but you still want to define your eyes slightly, but you don't have any eyeshadow, this is perfect. This kind of shade is quite good as a transition shade. And if you don't have anything this subtle, but you have a blusher that is slightly brighter, like this one here, you can brighten up the look even more if you're going out and you still don't have any eyeshadow. So I'm going to take this colour Devil and I will just show you how it looks on the eye. So now this shade has really warmed up the eye slightly, so this just shows you can create looks that you want to if you don't have any eyeshadows. Just kind of work with it, just make sure it's not too harmful on the eyes. But any kind of powder or contour powder, I've used it on quite a few occasions and it's worked for me. So this is just a really good tip if you have run out of certain things. My last tip is another thing that helps if you don't have any eyeshadows to hand and you've forgotten to pack a palette and you don't really want to go for a matte look, like you've already added your matte shades but you want a bit of shimmer, then highlighters really work well. You can use them on your inner corner as well, but they work so good for the top of the lid if you want to create a little halo and you don't have any shimmery eyeshadows. Highlighters work perfectly. I always use them as like a base. If I don't have any shimmer, they really, really help. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I've used highlighters. So this one is a MUA Undress Your Skin highlighter, I think just £3 from Superdrug, and the shade is in Iridescent Gold. This is more of a dense kind of highlighter, and I also have the sleek Solstice palette. This isn't as dense, but it's really good for that kind of glowy look. So I will show you how these look on the eyes. Now I'll be applying the MUA Undress Your Skin highlighter on the base of my eyelid. So as you can see, it's given like a really nice gold kind of base. It could even be used for a soft cut crease as well. And I have used this so many times. Before I had like a good amount of eyeshadow palettes, I did used to use this quite a lot. People used to ask me, what are you using in your eyes? I'm like, I have highlighter. So if you want to add a little bit more shimmer, I will then go into my sleek Solstice palette, and my favourite one off the palette is this peachy kind of shade, and I'm going to start adding that on top of what I've just added, just to help it glow a little bit more. Now also I could highlight my brow bone with this shade. That is my eyes complete without using any eyeshadow. I did use eyeshadow for the base of my eye, yes, but in terms of colour and having some fun, I did use all highlighters. Now I will show you how it looks after I've taken off the masking tape, just to show you how it's helped. Okay, so now you can see I've got that nice edge and how much that really helps with avoiding fallout. And now you can see how I've created like a pretty effective eye look without having to use eyeshadow. So I'll take off this side as well. So even though it's quite a subtle sort of shade or eye look, it is quite effective. It's like a soft cut crease. And it's just good to know that I've only used a highlighter and blush for this eye look. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, so now that I've got my eyeshadow complete, I'm just going to finish off the rest of my face just to complete the look as a whole, and I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, so that is my pretty simple tips and tricks with eyeshadow and how to help if you don't have certain things. I think it's good to know there's other ways around things. You can't just limit yourself, like if you don't have certain things, it's not the end of the world. You can still create looks that you want. You can just use alternatives. There's always a way out of a sticky situation. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!